thank you to our close to 750 users of the PFA Color Suite. Your feedback shaped this tool. Today, 5 shots, 5 looks, 12 tools, 1 interface, real-time 4K playback. Let's dive in. Hey everyone, so now I'm looking at PFA Color Suite PFA 6.1.11. So now let's look at the few tools. We skip AI first. We look at the scopes that we introduced. So Vectorscope now is built in. So we have Waveform, RGB, Parade, and Waveform, which are very professional tools for you to calibrate and measure your lighting in the image. So first of all, we jump into film separation. Okay, we turn on Vectorscope. Just this tool itself is really groundbreaking because you can't find this kind of functions in any of the NLE so far. So the distribution will be from red to cyan. So this is something that lives within the color palette of when this whole thing is filmed. So let's increase the red and cyan separations. And instantly, I have gotten a very strong taste and film look instantly because I'm actually elongating it along a complementary color palette right here. But to elaborate this further, I can even spread it around the green and magenta line, which is another complementary color, to elaborate more on the magenta tone. And if you feel this is not enough, you can go down to blue and yellow to further elaborate and stretch the colors. Then that's how powerful this toolkit is. We can go to color mixer. This is even stronger tool, but what it does is it normalizes the channels. So when you increase the green output of blue channel, is a typical teal and pink kind of style. So instantly, see how this single tool sort of manipulate and massage the whole vector scope into one straight line along the red and cyan. Yeah, that's how powerful it is. We can use the green channel and blue output to create a teal and orange look. I really want to reshape the hue rotation a little bit. You can go to film separation again, change your hue rotation, and look at how a hue is instantly shifted towards a different palettes. Now it's more along the skin tone line, which is orange, teal and orange kind of separation. So it's from teal and pink to teal and orange instantly. So that's how powerful this toolkit is. Okay, once you develop a very strong look, for example, let's cancel this strong look. Next, we want to increase, maybe look at the film tonal curve, which is something that is very, very critical. So to replicate the film, we look at open the curve overlay. I can raise the black points. I can raise the shadow softness, and instantly I create a very milky gray to the shadows that simulate a very nice film texture to the image right away. If I want to treat the highlights the same way, I can simply turn on curve overlay. I reduce the white point, and I lower increase the highlight roll off, and you can immediately see how it affects the highlights and tones in your image to create a very gradual roll off. And that is the power of film tonal curve that creates a very cinematic tonal curve to your image. Powerful plugins, they are internally communicating with one another. So within the film split tone, you turn on the curve overlay. This is taking the information we previously built with film tonal curve and the highlight range set by the film tonal curve. Now we can look at how it split tone. That means split the color treatment at the shadow and the highlight. So we can simply increase the shadow split, and you will see the RGB curve of shadow actually start slipping apart at our shadow defined range. And we can increase the shadow split hue, and you see them rotating in 3D space. And you just observe how your shadow has transformed into a different kind of shadow treatment. For example, I want to make it slightly more cyan. That is enough. Or I can do the same to highlight split, and then I can do a split of the hue to create a different look. And we can even treat individual curves separately. So that is the split tone capability. And you can even split the mid-tone if you want, but that requires some knowledge about balancing. For example, I want to create more of the yellow tone in the shadows. I just increase a little bit of green and red. They mix to become adding a different kind of color cast to the mid-tone. So that is something that is very powerful that you can nudge and create. And so now let's look at this shot, the before and after. I already have a very filmic treatment, and guess what? We are still be able to play at 24 frames per second with such a heavy effects because we are so optimized on our coding. So next, let's try our preset management system. So let's save this maybe as today's date 114. Okay. Then I can go to another shot, try out the same effect. I load my preset 114 and see instantly create a very different kind of tones to the image instantly. And this is the power of our toolkit. It's able to create a very cinematic result in a single click. But of course, now I introduce few other tools. In shots like this, for example, you look at Vectorscope, the colors are very narrow. There is very little colors introduced in this shot. There are two ways you can go about it. You can go to movie density. We can increase the color density to pop the density of the colors. We are actually adding blacks to the image. So we can look at this more closely by comparing it with, so when I reset the global density, when I reduce the movie density, global density, actually you pull down the luminance of the color. And that is the subtractive color engine built behind color density. It's like film dye works in a very different way like digital video. When RGB dye mix together, they block light. Just like you do water painting, when you add all these three colors together, when light passes through, you can't pass because it's black. It's actually a layer that blocking the color from passing through. But for normal saturation, Color Studio is working on the traditional additive color engine. So when you increase saturation, look what happens. It's actually elevating my pixels upwards, the waveform. If you look very closely, if you increase saturation, it does increase the luminance of the shots. But color density, movie density work in the opposite way. When you increase the density, your color get richer on the Vectorscope. You see on our interface, if from a very neutral state, go into a deeper color, but the luminance actually drops. And that is the secret behind the tonal density. We can go even deeper. We can go to film printer lights. Film printer lights is something that add color cast. Film printer lights, this tool is so powerful because it protects the shadow and the skin. I want to introduce that vintage vibe to the shot. I just add green. I just add a little bit of yellow. Done. The whole shot, I created a totally different vintage vibe just like that. If I want a cleaner look, for example, I want something that the emotion of the feel of the scene, I want it to be cooler. So I just add blue, I add cyan. Instantly, I get a different tonality and atmosphere in the scene. So this is when you want to build romance, when you want to build the nostalgia, when you want to build the sadness in the scene. This is super powerful. Especially want to create those like Joker kind of look. Is very, very simple to achieve. Next, we go to another shot. I'm going to try the same thing, 114. Let me load the preset. Okay, now you realize the color palette doesn't really work in this scene simply because previously we are dealing with a shot that originally had very strong cyan and pink color style. But look here, our distribution is more yellow and blue. So we can do something that is totally different here. So we go to film separation. We reset our film separation and we can increase our blue and yellow to set up a separation here, but you realize it's still not enough. It's all right, but I feel the current image is a little bit too dark, so I can use global saturation to brighten and saturate the image a little, and I use the movie density to dense up the image a little, and instantly I get a very dense looking shots with very good color contrast, tonal range still preserved, at the same time a different kind of separation. Now I show you something, glimpse of CinePulse. So sometimes you want to, this is the AI engine that is built inside this toolkit. It actually has a brain. It understands every single adjustment you make on the sliders. You will eventually trying to process it and understand how you grade, which tonal range do you frequently use. And this is hosted entirely locally. So this brain lives with you and everyone's CinePulse is different. So now I want to just regrade printer lights. So it will just create different variations. And maybe I want the green and blue, green and teal. What is the scene and the vibe do I like to taste? Or maybe this I prefer this way. Or I want to change a different kind of color mixer tool. I want to change the tonality of things. You can actually regrade everything just with one click. Okay. So this is a very powerful way to use it. So we can look at the next shot. And here I'm going to demonstrate the power of CinePulse AI. Where eventually we are doing something that one click to create a generate look. So we just click generate look. Instantly, I get a very, very amazing result. I can keep on generating until, ooh, actually I love this one. And you will never know how it comes out with this result because it's purely randomized, but it actually creates all these endpoints to all your sliders where you can calibrate. For example, now I don't like the tonal curve. You can either regrade, just click regrade film tonal curve. If you still don't like the result, do it manually. You go in, increase the shadow roll off, increase the black point, Then I create a very nice color roll off, and I'm done. Actually, I'm very, very satisfied. Imagine I'm putting all this package together, and it's now playing back at 24 frames per second. This is freaking insane. But I think the skin has some issue. There are two ways to go about it. So we can go inside scopes, open our Vectorscope. Yeah, it's slightly off. So what we can do, we can use the two skin match. Skin match is a very powerful mapping system. So you do the map, it will show your skin tone in orange and yellow and blue. Orange is perfectly aligning with the skin tone line. So actually, it aligns perfectly with the skin tone line. So maybe you can maybe it's too saturated. I can reduce the density of the skin to make it slightly wider, and done. And actually, I'm I'm very proud of this look. I just don't want to make any adjustment. It's good enough. You observe how well it's doing, right? Next, last shot. Let's generate look again. Actually, I'm done, guys. All my efforts just now trying to take all this like this, do the refinement is not necessary. One click, you understand what I want to do and you achieve it. And I can further refine the tonal range. Of course, I can refine the printer lights to add a different color cast to it. But I still prefer the original one. But just trust me, it's very hard for you to get back the same look. So you can use Command Z to go back to the look that you actually want. Or you generate look again. Yeah. Until it fit a color. Oh, actually, I like this one. Okay. Then you can go specifically to each range. Go to a scope, look at your Vectorscope. Let's look at, now is a very obvious teal and orange kind of separation. So I can increase the red and cyan to further elaborate this. And then I can use the film printer lights to create a mood. Maybe I increase the green. Maybe this shot I want it to be warmer, so I increase yellow, I reduce blue. So that creates a layer of warmth, like afternoon sun kind of vibes to the scene. But I don't like the tonal curve, no worries. Go inside, regrade tonal curve. Okay, I have a different vibe right away. Okay, so this is the power of our holistic CinePulse system that actually is like a personal assistant that understands your color grading logic and color grading system. So overall, as you use this tool more, build more presets, it will become like you. So it will save you tremendous amount of time to set up looks. Okay, traditional sharpening, they are linear functions, but we create a parabolic bell curve that creates that very organic physical sharpening to the toolkit. So as if you have upgraded to a totally new lens, like for free, just using this tool. So look at the sharpening. I increase the sharpen strength. I improve the sharpen radius, and you can see the results more clearly. So now this is a sharpened image. Look at how organic this sharpening has done to the whole image. And look at the necklace. This is the before. This is the after. It doesn't create that edge, linear edge deterioration. It's creating that thing that actually pops your whole mid-tone, pop your whole image with just this single toggle. It creates so much organic sharpening to your image, and you can still play back almost at live speed. And this is on 4K timeline with 10 effects coming. Okay, so this is the power and how crazy this toolkit is. I'm able to create such a nice sharpening effect before. It's very blurry. After, it instantly pops the image and isolate your subject better. You don't have to cost $3,000 to buy a new lens that is much sharper. Instead, just use one toggle, you get that effect, and it's physical. In one tool click, I can create a totally different look in 1 second. And that is the craziest part about this toolkit. And just imagine how I can just generate with one click here. It's like, if I have to do it myself, I have to change the printer lights for sure to create that cyan in the tone, but it instantly create everything for me. And the isolation, the tonality, tool that designed for pro colorists, but with CinePulse AI, we welcome even newcomers who don't understand color grading. Try CinePulse to set it at foundation, go to the scope, go to the film tonal curve, go to the color sliders to manipulate each color hue using the mask system, understand how they interpret the color, how they interpret cyan in the frame, and create something amazing out of it. Download the PFA Color Suite free trial right now. Test every single feature risk-free. See the difference in yourself compared with those 499 plugins. We have a system that systematically trains you how to be a better colorist. Right now, you can grab $100 off, lock in the $199 price. But this offer ends on 21st January. After that, the price jumps into $299. Don't miss this chance to lock in the best price of PFA Color Suite will ever be. I'm Nash, Passion Fuels Ambition, and I'll see you in the next one.